1974 was an extremely pivotal year for us. We made 3 decisions in Denver around the kitchen table at one time. The first one was, should we stay with just the vineyard concept and just grow grapes, or should we go ahead and build a winery and follow the estate tradition of France, the great French winery, Chateau Estates? We decided we would try to do that. The second decision that we made was that we really needed to have Andrei Chelichev as our consultant, because he would understand the kind of wine we wanted to make, the style of wine, the silky, soft, approachable, balanced wine that was low in tannin, that was so approachable and drinkable upon release. And Andrei understood that. The third decision that we had to make was how we were going to have our marketing concept created. And it was our vision to market the wine through hospitality, the hospitality as the primary tool of marketing. And this had not been done heretofore. And we were so serious about having the total experience, the total immersion into food and wine as a marriage, each one complementing the other. It's more of a love affair, really, than even a marriage. And we wanted to have that total experience for everyone who came to Jordan and who drank our wine, so that they would go away with this wonderful experience and memory. And to do that, we would have to design the winery in 2 parts, really, the production end and then the hospitality end, which was really the focal point of all of our marketing. Our marketing was not to be a penny for advertising, but everything by word of mouth. In 1979, we were already in place to begin for the release of our 1976, the release to be taking place in the summer of 1980. The winery was in place. Everything was ready to go. Even the hospitality wing was ready to go. The dining room was set, the kitchen was set. We had a French chef engaged who cooked only to the Cabernet. And our mission was to begin the process of developing relationships with restaurants and hotels, friends we had already in place, but we wanted to further those relationships by the hospitality, which was now able to begin in our winery. So the dining room was ready to go. The Baccarat crystal was here. The Madeira linens had arrived. The lighting was perfect. The ladies who served were properly trained. They were trained in white glove service. They had their black and white uniforms, which I designed. Our sommeliers were ready to go. The chef was ready to go. And we were in place to launch our beautiful wine to be presented in the best possible light on the stage that we had created for this total food and wine experience in our dining room. And so we began to have luncheons and dinners at the winery, and it was lovely. And we had wonderful guest lists of mixes of people from restaurants and hotels and food and wine writers and interesting people who were very curious about what it was that we were doing. We had kept the gates closed, there was no publicity, and so everyone was piqued by the curiosity and the mystery of what it was that we were trying to do. It was an exciting time, and the events were wonderful. They went flawlessly, and Tom and I would host these events, and it all was very exciting and so romantic because it was presenting our wine in such a beautiful ambiance, and people were struck by the totality of the experience. There was, however, a backstory to this. We had moved in August, and though the winery was ready and the hospitality was ready, and we were excited about it and everything was going smoothly, we still had no house to live in. So we were actually living in a little apartment over the garage with our little children. So we'd moved in August, and so the children, the first night or 2, had to sleep in the offices of the winery because we did not have room for them over the garage. There were no steps up from the garage to the apartment. There was only cardboard on the mud. It was an unusual rainy season. So we had to deal with the mud, the cardboard, the children, and the construction that was now ongoing at our home, which was wonderful for the children. They adored it, this heavy-duty equipment which was left at night and over the weekends, and they were just like giant toys for the children. No keys, of course. That was before John could drive. And we had giant sand piles, and it was just a Disneyland for children. However, for me, it was really very difficult because I had to be lovely at luncheon and dinner and be the hostess. And night after night, I would put on my black satin heels and leave the children with the nanny while I would wade through the mud, wade down, we're about 7 minutes. The residence is about 7 minutes from the winery, and we couldn't park the car there because it was a mud lolly and full of construction equipment, so it was easier to walk through the rain. So there I was in my black satin shoes, carrying my umbrella, and trying to get to the winery so that I could be lovely and relaxed and at ease and enjoy the guests. I finally decided that it was easier to carry the shoes and the stockings in the bag and then change at the winery. But it was night after night of being lovely at the winery, but slogging through the mud to get there to be lovely, and then slogging home. One evening, I even remember the gates were closed into the courtyard, and I threw my shoes over the gate, and finally I threw the umbrella too because I couldn't get up over the gate, climb over the gate with all of this in my hand. And at the top of the gate, just as I'm about to slide down the other side, the security man flashed his light on me and he said, "I have you in the light." He said, "Stop where you are." I said, No, Pete, it's Mrs. Jordan, don't shoot." So he helped me down from the gate. But there were many traumatic moments behind the beauty and the elegance of the dining room and the introduction of our darling Cabernet. Was very much, looking back on it, was very much like a dance recital. You know, if you have a little girl in a dance recital, you have her costume perfect, and staging is perfect, the lighting is perfect, the music is perfect, and you trot her out there, and she does beautifully. And that's what we did with our 1976. We prepared the stage. We had wonderful guests. We had our little place corks in position. We poured our darling into the wine glass, and she was well received. And that was really, the formula we used throughout the 1980s. We never deviated from that formula. However, the mud did dry, the house was built, and the winter of 1970, 1980 is behind me, and now I only have these happy, hilarious memories.